he's like, you know what? You have a good voice. You should,
Speak.
you should speak. And
Very calming voice.
thank you.
Yeah.
I don't think I ever stumbled upon art because it's just been a part of my life. Like, I can't remember my life without art.
So you're more like a filmmaker, sort of. You're going in that direction.
Okay. When I ended up joining the National Institute of Design.
Yes.
And everything was online. So
Yeah.
naturally, I had to get comfortable with like digital tools.
Yeah.
You're something beautiful, electric chemical. You take my breath away, feel my.
So, hi everyone. Welcome to the second episode of Perspectives. I hope you were able to catch some perspectives in the first episode where I talked to my best friend about mental health, love, relationships, life, and her take on friendships. The second episode of Perspectives is actually quite interesting. I did not really think through the kind of people I would meet when I entered I Am Ranchi. But while I was exiting I Am Ranchi, I met quite a few interesting people, including some juniors which I never thought in my wildest imagination I would meet. So here I am with Bipasha. I don't like the word junior that much because that denotes just which class or which grade you were in. But me and Bipasha met when she was moving out of IPM. No. You were in your second year of IPM.
I think,
Yeah,
probably.
and I was exiting I Am Ranchi at that point,
Yeah.
and I think we got connected more because of Aditi. So huge shout out to Aditi. She came up to me, and if you would have not come up to me that day in the convocation, I would have never. I think I saw your work on Vartalab.
Yeah.
So yeah, before we start this podcast, I want to give a huge shout out to Bipasha's YouTube channel, the work she does on Instagram. It's called Vartalab. I link it in the description. I personally think it was amazing, and I'll stop looking at the camera now. I'll talk to you. When I came across your podcast, so I don't know if you listen to creators like Chelsea Callahan, Alexis Eldridge.
No.
These are like slow life creators.
Huh.
So they also like, and other people like Parishmita Gogoi on Instagram. What they do is basically they document their everyday life. And in that mundane, they have ASMRs, they make food, they come after their 9 to 5, do their 5 to 9. So your podcast was that fresh breath of air and breath of fresh air. Breath of fresh air. It was like, I think your podcast and the podcast by Chelsea Callahan is something that I listen to when I want to slow down my life. Which is the same thing that I do when I do mandalas, like adult coloring books or mandalas. I feel like we'll run so fast in life that we need to just sometimes stop and listen to things.
Yeah.
So today's podcast is going to be about me asking your perspective on your art first of all, because art is it's a creative endeavor, but it's a very difficult endeavor to continuously keep at. And I want to understand, where do you find your motivation from? But before that, just introduce us to how you stumbled upon your art. What is your art all about, and why do you create the things that you create?
Okay, so I don't think I ever stumbled upon art because it's just been a part of my life. Like, I can't remember my life without art.
Okay.
So I'm a part of a very creative family.
Okay.
From childhood, I was put into like a lot of different activities.
Yeah.
And hamare ghar mein there's this whole idea of never sitting empty.
Okay.
So I live in a joint family sort of setup.
Okay.
And so it's always like my bua is doing something, dadi is doing something, mummy is doing something. My dad has his own sort of creative space.
Yeah.
So just art has just,
Always there.
it's always been there. So I never stumbled upon it.
Okay.
And that's probably one of the reasons why, although sometimes I'm not as consistent, but it's always just there. It finds ways into my life.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I'd like to say something. What I've observed when I've seen your reels is that you do not have like one very specific art form that you pursue. You have a combination of like 5 things. You write, you edit, you do solid storytelling, and you also have like your take on life. So it's like a mixture of people doing poetry, people doing storytelling, people doing editing, people doing a lot of things into one. So you're more like a filmmaker, sort of. You're going in that direction.
Okay.
Because that's where my question was going, that how did you stumble upon this form of art? How did you realize that this is how I want to express myself?
So, I mean, it was just a process of discovery. So I've always been an artist. So paints and all of that, I was very comfortable with that. But when COVID hit, that was when I ended up joining the National Institute of Design.
Yes.
And everything was online. So naturally, I had to get comfortable with like digital tools.
Yeah.
So that's how I didn't ever use Photoshop before that.
Okay.
I had one of those drawing pads since like 10th grade, but until then, like, which was 3 or 4 years later, I had never used it.
Okay.
And I was forced to use it.
Okay.
So that started. And then after that, I don't know, it was maybe my dad or something happened, and he's like, you know what, you have a good voice, you should
speak.
Yeah, you should speak.
And very calming voice.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So that's how Vartalap started.
Okay.
It started in the middle of like COVID.
Yeah.
May 8th, 2020. Yeah, May 8th, 2020. And I was just like, Acha, let's just start it.
Yeah.
First, it was the audio medium, because it's really easy to edit audios. It's harder to edit videos.
Very. Yeah.
So
I understand.
For the first couple of months, maybe years, it was just audio.
Okay.
Then over time, like, I became more familiar with videos.
Yeah.
And then uske baad, like, it just, over time, because I wanted to do something, I just had to go out and figure it out.
Okay.
And it's what it is now.
Yeah.
So I never strategically thought कि मेरे को filmmaker बनना है, मेरे को ये करना है, वो करना है.
Okay.
It's just, this is how I want to say something.
Okay.
So I figured it out.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll come to a controversial take that we are asked as artists a lot of times. Like, first of all, I want to understand what kind of person are you? Are you an introvert or an extrovert? How would you describe yourself as?
I would say ambivert.
You're an ambivert.
Yeah.
Okay. So, because I feel like people who put art out there, they express themselves somewhere because at certain places they're not able to express themselves completely. Okay. People have maybe they've not been able to freely express themselves. That's why this is their medium to express. So my question is, there is this whole debate of people who post on Instagram and post on YouTube. They might be vain because they're looking for followers, they're looking for likes, they're looking for subscribes. So how do you stay true to your art and you tell yourself, your internal artist, that I'm doing justice to what I'm doing, and at the same time you're putting it out there? Why are you putting it out there? What is your reason?
Because, actually somebody else also asked me this. I was talking to them and I was like, I'm just trying to document my life. I'm just trying to document and express it. And then they asked me, what's the point of putting it online?
But why are you putting 8 hours into documenting and editing a video to document your life? There is some motivation that has to be there.
I mean, part of it is just, I feel like once I make anything, and this has just been how art has been for me, is once I make something, I want to show it to people. You
like when they respond to it?
Yeah, I like to see how people react to something that came out of my brain.
Okay.
What is their response?
Okay.
And over time, I've realized that, as you said, there is some therapeutic value to what I'm creating.
Yes.
Because I get these messages of, you know what, I used to see you at this point of time and it helped me get through this. And I don't see it.
Yeah.
But if somebody else saw it and if it does help someone, then why not?
Got it.
Yeah.
So let's say right now you're at an X number in your subscriber list, in your Instagram list. Do you sometimes feel jealous of people who are growing faster than you and creating not that meaningful and deep of a stuff that they are creating versus you? And would you be more fulfilled when you have more followers and subscribers, or would you say that an artist is always an artist? They don't have to be validated by the external presence.
I think everybody needs validation. That's there. How you seek that validation depends on you. With that being said, because it's been 4 years now and Vartalap has been going on, I've had that phase of, wanting more subscribers, wanting more followers. And there was this one video that was up, which was called How to Get into NID.
Yeah.
And that got a lot of views. That was at 70K or something views.
Okay.
And I got that high, but then I realized that I didn't really enjoy it. Not now, but like, I don't want people to know me because of I went to an institute or I did this.
But do you want those views on other videos where you talk about life and where you talk about adventures and pockets, those things?
I mean, I'm fine even if it's not there.
Okay. So my question is more around, would you at any stage want to earn out of your art?
Ooh, okay.
And monetize it?
I think art, that this is probably a controversial take, but I think art dies a little bit when you monetize it.
Okay. Understood, yeah.
Because
I get what you're saying, yeah.
There's an external influence to it, right? And I feel like that's applicable to me.
Yeah.
And I would not want to, quote unquote, monetize my art. But that doesn't ever want to be the primary motive why I do something.
Understood. And you don't want someone, I think you talked about this in your NID, why you left NID video, where you said that I don't want to, someone else to control my art, because then it takes a very different form and shape. I think that's what happens with agencies and people working in agencies also. After several, because I've had people in my family who have worked in agencies, I try to understand what is their perspective, and they're fed up of brands telling them exactly what to do. And then their art dies a little every day. So like my constant personal struggle is that if at all I think at any stage that I want to start making it my occupation or profession, I think it'll stop giving me the returns that it is giving right now. Like right now it's a creative pursuit and it helps connect me to myself better and to the world better, but then it'll stop. Like after a stage it might become, okay, isse mujhe kitni achhi brand deal mil sakti hai. Things like that. Okay, understood. So let's talk a little bit about your professional, not professional exactly, but like academic journey right now. You've done IPM. IPM is a very new course to the world right now. And I've personally not been a big fan of combined courses, like 5-year courses and things like that. So how was your experience with your IPM degree, and would you recommend it to others watching this video?
Okay, so IPM, so I fell in love with IPM in 12th because I was a humanities with math student. And I really liked the fact that I could learn subjects that are very different together. With that being said, I also understood, like by the end of 12th, middle of 12th, I'm somebody who, you know, likes managing things, organizing things, getting things done. So naturally I was just like, acha, okay, IPM is there. At the end of the day, it's a B school, so they're teaching you how to eventually run a business or be a part of these organizations. Interdisciplinary learning hai. So that's perfect for me. And kya kehte hain, once I got into the course, IPM was in a lot of ways exactly what I expected it to be. We got to learn philosophy, we got to learn psychology, math bhi tha, eco bhi tha, everything. So it was good for me. But for a lot of people, it might not really make a lot of sense. And I think another reason why I chose IPM was because India, so I figured this out once I got into the whole college application process, ki India is very competitive. It is really hard, like, and
to crack things here.
And it's additionally, it becomes based on luck a lot of times, and you can't control it. Because I gave IPMAT twice. The first time, I think my preparation was decent. I didn't get in. Next time also, I had prepared. But nahi hua. Like things don't work out. So the additional layer of, you know, safety being there, ki no matter what, you have this college. And CAT is, after writing CAT, I can say this CAT is not that easy.
Not at all.
Matlab, people say that ki nahi aa jayenge tumhare.
CAT is relatively easier than some other papers, but it is mostly in the one of the hardest exams in India at least.
I mean, it's the hardest exam I've given. So matlab,
you've not appeared for IIT?
No. I was a humanities with math student. So
the MBA is thoda less difficult. Matlab, CAT is thoda less difficult than JEE ka paper. I gave that after my 12th, so I know.
So, matlab, that additional layer of safety, because I can't say that did not exist. Of course, that was a thought in the back of my mind. So, it makes sense for somebody who wants interdisciplinary learning, who wants to, you know, experience what does it mean to be in a B school straight out of 12th. And also, if you're somebody who like can, you know, utilize the opportunity of being around people who are much elder to you and learn from them. Because not everybody is that outgoing or that capable कि अच्छा मैं जाकर के MBA के लोगों से बात करूंगी या करूंगा and like understand कि उनकी life experiences क्या है. If you can do that, it's a good degree. At the end of the day, and this I've realized after talking to people, कि the college teaches you what you want to learn. You can waste your time.
You can make whatever you want.
Exactly. So it made sense for me. It made sense for a lot of people. It might not make sense for everybody.
Got it. So, whatever you do in life, for example, let's take the example of you joining the marketing club. Whatever you do in life, why do you do it? From the lens that, is it because an activity is cathartic to you and it's the process that matters? Or do you have like a 5-year, 10-year, very elaborate plan where marketing club fits into that? That's the cog in the wheel of your FMCG cracking business, think of it like that. Why do you do anything that you do in your life?
So I think there was this one vision that I walked into IPM with, and like I sort of approach every decision with.
Okay.
With that being said, I've realized that over time, as things happen, a narrative builds.
I contributed to that when we had the discussion last time about FMCGs.
Yeah. So I mean, I feel like there's that Steve Jobs quote about connecting the dots. You can only connect the dots like once life has happened.
Okay, got it. Yeah.
But there is this overlying theme of creativity and wanting to do things differently and helping people find that sort of comfort.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So, marketing fits in because marketing inherently is creative, but also it's a process of, and now I understand this, it's a process of understanding others.
Okay.
And because I love conversations, I love a good vartalap.
Yes. Understood from your name of your YouTube channel.
Yeah. So, inherently, if you're trying to be a marketer, from what I understand, and I could be wrong, you're trying to understand what people need and deliver that.
Yeah.
So that's how I'm making sense of wanting to become a marketer, wanting to go into the field.
Okay. So it's more of like the journey and the process, more at this point, the here and now, and you have an overarching vision and theme for your life.
Yeah, I mean, I'm trying to create fun.
Good one. Because I have not been tried. I haven't been able to get to that. I'm not a very vision board sort of person. So I'm more of a here and now person where I just trust and believe in the things that are happening right now. And maybe the next 10 steps are something that I have planned and defined. Okay, so you ended on the thought that you said that it essentially connects with people. Marketing connects with people.
Yeah.
How do you approach relationships in your life? And like, how important are people to you in your life? Are you like a very small circle kind of person, or do you have like a group and you interact with 10 people and you have a person for going out, having ice cream, shopping, things like that? How do you approach your relationships?
I think human relationships are very, very complicated for me.
Yeah.
Because I keep sort of having that, oh, I love people, but I don't like people. I love people, but I don't like people. Because I feel like that comes also from being an artist, because artists are inherently, as you said, very introverted. Cynical also, but they're very introverted people. They don't say things.
Okay.
And I am an ambivert, so I keep going between
oscillating between both.
Yeah, but there are my rocks. There are those pillars that exist in life. Jinke bina, I would not be able to navigate a lot of things. Like even right now, there are people. I've said this to their face, like I would not have been able to make it out of college if they didn't exist.
Okay.
And
so that's not like a casual thing for you to say. Like you mean it.
Yeah.
Because most people don't mean what they say these days.
No, I absolutely mean it in the full sense of what we're saying. Like I would not have been able to make it out of college if certain people did not exist.
Okay.
And I am still trying to figure out how do you let somebody in or don't let somebody in.
Okay.
So I'm
what
still
do you mean
learning.
by that?
I feel like not everybody should have the access to you. Yeah.
Okay.
And
but like, where do you draw the line in terms of boundaries? Like, do boundaries become so much that it becomes a wall, and then someone says this person is snobbish and arrogant?
I have never thought of it that way, but a lot of people do think that I'm snobbish and arrogant.
People think I'm intimidating just because of the fact that I think I'm not as approachable on the outside as everyone else. But then I also share the same thought that not everyone needs to have access to my life, because there is a vibe and energy that I have created, and I don't want someone to mess with that and pollute that. Okay.
Makes sense.
And what essentially is the importance of love in your life? What does love mean for you? It can be love for your parents, it can be love for a pet, but what does love mean for you?
I think that's a very deep question. Have
you experienced love?
Yes.
Okay.
I've experienced love. I feel like love is understanding, like being able to be yourself fully in front of someone else, and also additionally letting them be themselves.
Be that.
Yeah.
Okay.
And just accepting that ki theek hai, jo bhi ho, I'm fine with it.
Okay.
It's okay.
Okay.
Along with that, it's also like being cared for.
Okay.
being seen, being heard.
Okay. Okay.
And yeah, that I think that's what love is.
Okay. And do you think, I asked this to Afsha as well in my first interview, that you said that it means that you can be your most authentic self in front of someone. So when you will be your most authentic self, there will be conflicts and there will be clashes.
Yeah.
So how much do you mold yourself, and versus where do you draw the line that I think now I'm changing myself to be with the next person, I should stop? And how do you not then drive them away? What is that? How do you decide how much to change yourself?
I feel like that's really hard to do because once you're in love with someone, you forget where that line is.
Okay.
It gets very easy to just get lost
Okay.
in that whole idea.
Okay.
And you have to sort of consciously remind yourself कि नहीं मतलब यहाँ पे रुकना है.
Okay.
And
does that get stronger when you start loving yourself more?
Yeah, probably.
And you know your likes and dislikes.
Yeah, and I think that's just a process of like, figuring out.
It may be very for granted for you. You might be very self-aware, but people don't know, oh, this is hurting me and this is hurting my peace. They mold, and then sometimes you hit a wall that this person changed me completely, and here I am standing and I don't even have myself.
Yeah.
So I think that self-love concept, is that important for you, self-love? And what does that mean for you? Do you consciously practice it, or is that like an inherent thing in you?
I think self-love, it's all around social media, like self-love and self-care, it's been really bastardized.
Okay.
And what it means to actually love yourself is, I don't know what it actually means. It looks different for everybody. But I forgot what that was. And I feel like I'm realizing that again.
Okay.
And of course, that means like, drawing these boundaries and like, itna main nahi change. These are my core values. These are my, I will not. Boundaries, हाँ. ये नहीं change करूँगी.
Okay.
ये नहीं change करूँगा.
Okay.
And then apart from that, मतलब, there's that extent ना कि अगर this causes me itna issue, but it causes it, मतलब, okay, I'm explaining it really poorly, but let's say if there's a habit of mine that my partner does not like, and that habit is not that huge of a deal for me to fix, then I'll fix it.
Understood.
But if that's like a core wo, and if that is not that important for them, then no, I'm not going to.
Okay.
So just based on like ek dusre ki priorities, figuring out.
Understood.
But yeah, we were at self-love.
No, understood. Like I understood your take on both of them. I would also like to ask you, does your relationship with your parents and the kind of environment and upbringing that you get at home and the love that you get when you're small, does that affect your definition of love in the future?
Yeah, definitely.
Loving home versus a dysfunctional family, does that change your notions of love? And do you get inspired from the love that your parents share?
I mean, touch wood, I've had a very functional, wholesome family.
Okay.
And the definition of love and what it means to be cared, they've set really good examples for me. Which is why I feel like I haven't accepted ऐसे, बस
throw away
हाँ, मतलब नहीं.
Yeah.
Thanks.
And that's why you are self-aware. That's why you know the concept of self-love.
Maybe.
I think.
I don't know. Maybe. Probably.
Okay.
Probably. But like they have set really good examples, and that has helped me be more mindful of what kind of love, be that romantic, platonic, whatever, what kind of love I'm allowing.
Okay, got it. That were all the questions that I had. You had some questions from me. Do you want to ask them?
I don't remember them right now.
Then we'll make a second podcast about that.
We can do that, yes.
One last question with which I'll close this podcast is, I personally think that when you become an adult, it becomes very hard to make friends. And I'm employing very unique ideas like hosting board games night and things like that. But do you think that, have you come across people who have stayed in your life which you met at a very later point in your life? And how did that figure? How did that work out? How did that start?
I feel like all of my experiences have been either through like college or school.
Okay.
So ऐसा हुआ नहीं है कि and the friends that I'm going to part ways with, it's going to happen now as our paths go alag. And it's only for us to see how things happen. With that being said, I feel like I have this theory that friendships and some relationships come inherently with an expiry date.
Okay.
Ki,
how do you know that from day one?
No, this is what हर चीज का एक समय होता है.
Okay.
This is, I think.
And then how do you think that your people who are like in your life for 10-15 years, how does that figure then? Those are not with an expiry date.
Yeah. I mean, eventually that also, at some point of time, you guys just won't be as close.
Okay.
And I've noticed that even with my friendships, like my school best friend, I'm not as close with her. With that being said, I don't think so our friendship is at an expiry date, because we still make the time.
It's still very important for you.
Both of us. But at one point of time, it just stops becoming important for one person. They're like,
okay.
Because a lot of times we treat relationship as transactions.
Okay.
Or as convenience because we're in the same environment.
At the outset, or do you realize that some years or some days into that relationship that this comes with an expiry date, and then why would you continue in that then? Do you continue in a relationship which gives you things other than love, care, and like things which are given in a transaction, for example?
I mean, I feel like if somebody says ki nahi, they're probably lying. I could be wrong, but I think they're probably lying, because inherently as humans, we need each other. Apart from love, care, emotions and all of that, we need each other to just survive.
Yeah.
That transactional relationship.
Social animals wala concept.
Social animals wala concept. The transactions, they do exist. And given that you're living in a certain context, you will need, like, let's talk about living in a hostel.
Yeah.
And let's say, maybe I'm friends with somebody, but we're not that close.
Yeah.
The love, the care, all of that has died.
Yeah.
But I fall sick.
Yeah.
Or they fall sick.
Yeah.
So we'll care for each other.
Yes.
That transactional element remains, because when that same context.
That's not transactional. That is actually care.
I don't think so, because both of us would know that we're only doing this because
that
we
will
just
keep the maintain the relationship.
That and also, मतलब you know, अगर मेरे को कभी जरूरत पड़ेगी तो ये बंदा पक्का हेल्प करेगा.
Like that. Okay.
हाँ, पर तभी हेल्प करेगा जब मैं इसको हेल्प करूंगी या करूंगा.
Giving to receive.
Yeah.
You give to receive. Yeah.
Like the whole transaction wala element. And I think it's fine. Not every relationship, friendship is supposed to be that intense where you're giving each other like your emotions.
Okay.
कुछ transactions
You're okay with that?
कुछ हाँ, मतलब it shouldn't be
like you differentiate between the concept of friends versus acquaintances versus best friends. Do you believe in labels?
I mean, I feel like hazy labels do exist
in your mind. When you meet that person, you know how this person is going to be.
And eventually like lines get crossed.
Okay, that was all I had. This was quite interesting, and see you in the next episode. A very interesting person is coming in that as well. Again from I Am Rachi. So stay tuned.
Emotions push and pull, shooting stars in